Well, we'll kick it off. It's December 10th, 2025. We'll kick off the Historic Review Board meeting. I have 2:05, and we'll call it to order. I think first order of business is a review of minutes. Did anybody have any comments? Or actually, we're probably gonna have to just table that because I'll have to abstain since I was not here on the last one. And so we'll have to table that for the next meeting.
Okay.
Is that staff? Good? Good. All right, well then we'll move along to the first application and the only application today. 811 Congress Street, Larry Holman.
Okay. Dear Vice Chairman and members of the board currently here present. So our first and only application is Mr. Holman with his request for a new construction of a two-story dwelling, a duplex, and a detached carriage house at 811 Congress Street. This is the second time he's been here in front of you. He had gotten the conceptual approval last time. There were some comments that you had presented to him. This time around, he's back for final approval. And I will be showing you the revisions and showing you what he had changed in comparison to the last meeting. Just to kind of give a brief introduction of the property, where it's located. It's located actually in the Old Commons neighborhood. You can see it on the screen here. It's a vacant lot. The contributing building that used to be there was demolished a couple of years ago, I believe in 21, at least, maybe, I don't know. So it's an empty lot. It's surrounded by some contributing historic structures across the street. One of the only remaining duplex cottages in the area, in a very bad shape, unfortunately. And we've got some other contributing structures on the other side of West Street. So it is zoned T4 historic neighborhood, T4HN. Just to give you an overview, I did include the sheets, the new revisions of the dwelling units that you can see here, starting from the front elevation facing Congress Street. I'm just gonna briefly go over them. The site plan showing the total lot square footage, which is 4,946. He has broken down now, which we have asked him for, the ratios between the roofed areas and the lot itself. So looking at the percentage of the lot impervious, so impervious roofed area in comparison to the overall lot, it's about 55.78%, which is the cutoff for that district. So it is 55%. So he's there. Floor plans, they are exactly, the first and the second floor are more or less the same. We have kitchens on both floors. We have separated entrances to both floors. So the living areas towards the front, Congress Street, the bedrooms, bathrooms are in the rear. It's kind of sort of identical. So as you can see, there's a roof plan. They have come down on the roof pitches substantially. I will show that to you in a bit as well. So this is the south elevation, the front. As you can see, it's a very symmetrical 3-bay concept with a front porch, a balcony on the second story. Very Beaufortonian. It kind of aligns very nicely with historic architecture in the district. And in Beaufort, historic Beaufort, east elevation is going to be your right-hand side. You can see the entrance on the second floor with that staircase going up to that unit, that second unit there. on the outside. The windows actually on the east elevation that you see there, that's ganged windows, is it's a bedroom. We asked him to put those windows in. If you can remember, that elevation used to be totally blank before. The north elevation is basically the back side of the house, the rear. The west elevation facing West Street. The carriage house with two separate garage doors with windows above each door also has been changed as we asked or recommended. Overview of the other elevations which now have been provided. We haven't seen them before, or you haven't seen them before. So the right-hand side is going to be the side that faces the primary dwelling in front. The left-hand side is going to be the other side, and the front elevation is going to be basically the east. So looking at your decision letter from the last meeting on September 10th, I kind of analyzed and compared what we had talked about. So the first comment was the rear gable as shown in the plans last time. Kind of, we said, creates an odd connection with the main side gabled form since it is taller than the side gable. So if you look at the left-hand side, the previously discussed elevation, you kind of see how that gable sticks out. It was higher than actually the roof line at the front elevation. They changed that so it does not stick out anymore, as you can see on the right-hand side. So the way the house, the main dwelling is kind of visualized. So you've got that side elevation, you've got a 90 degrees attachment that kind of is part of the back portion of the primary dwelling. So that back portion, which is turned 90 degrees, that roof line, that pitch came down so it doesn't stick out anymore. So it's a clean, let's say a clean slate showing only the roof elevation for the front without having any roof gables stick out that are part of that back portion. So our analysis is that the revisions that they've done to that rear side gable conform with what we had talked about and what we had suggested. So that's good. The second item is the east elevation, as I kind of already briefly introduced, is that second story fenestration that has been added by a set of ganged windows where a front bedroom is. So they have fulfilled that recommendation in adding those windows. The other item is the kind of odd, kind of failing or missing portion of a roof over the landing, the entrance, that when you come upstairs and you're going inside that second story unit, it's kind of open. It was addressed, but I don't see, and feel free to ask the applicant again, but that's an item that hasn't really been addressed. I'm not sure if it's a big deal or not, but I'm just pointing that out to you. And so the comments that were issued, number 2 on the east elevation, the main side gable form lacks a corner adjacent to the door. So the gable does not protrude from the wall as is shown on the west elevation. This is an odd detail and should be resolved. So that's the comment that goes with what I just said. So that's that item. Number 3 is the north elevation. If you look on the left-hand side, the plans that were submitted for the last meeting, we kind of said, or you said, that the rear facade appears to be very wide with only one set of ganged windows on each floor. What they have done now, as you can see on the right-hand side, they've kind of sectioned it out where they created 2 individual sections in the rear with their own roof lines, I would say. So it kind of reads more not like one wide facade with like these two, gang windows, but actually two individual sections. The windows have been shifted to the left a little, so it's more symmetrical with that main section. There's a window that has been added on the first floor, as you can see on the right, as well. So it kind of creates a better transition. That pitch is kind of come down a little bit overall. It kind of breaks it up so it doesn't appear so wide anymore. And it creates a better transition between that main roof line of the house, that back section of the house, and the balcony. So it's kind of like it creates like a fan shaped transition of like three independent roof lines now. As you can see on the left-hand side, that portion of the roof gable that had been sticking out is now lower, okay, because the overall roof gables are decreased. So it kind of addresses what has been stated in that decision letter, comment number 3. So staff finds it has been addressed well. Number 4, the west elevation, showing kitchen windows on both first and second stories. If you look at the previously submitted plans on the left-hand side, they seemed a little too large overall. Now looking at on the right-hand side, they seem to be nicer, better suited and fitting into the overall concept of the house. They're a little smaller in size. So also the pitch there of that roof has been substantially lowered, or actually it hasn't been lowered. It has been raised a little, but it kind of creates a better symmetry between that section and the back rear section. So we find it reads much better by design. The architecture looks a lot better. The pitches overall are nicer now. So that checks off the number 4 comment. Staff recommends spacing the windows on the west elevation and the kitchen farther apart. They appear to crowd each other. So that's fine. The carriage house, we hadn't seen a lot of the elevations. The only previous elevation of that carriage house was the front elevation that you see on the left-hand corner, where they had initially put a set of gang windows over that 2-bay, separate garage doors above. Now, after addressing that, they have, changed that to 2 individual windows above each of the garage doors. You can see the other elevations that have been now submitted as well. There is a staircase that leads up to that in-law suite above the garage, which we hadn't seen before, but yeah, we don't really have any major issues so far. So with that, our staff analysis for the carriage house is that the recommended changes to the windows have been implemented. Now a whole set of elevations have been submitted too. So that kind of checks off comment number 6 and number 7 as well. The only missing piece in the decision letter that they have also addressed with that box with all the ratios, the total lot square footage and everything, is that we were missing some details on that. So, looking at what you are allowed to do when it comes to maximum lot coverage in T4HN is 55% for roofed lot coverage. That's been broken down. The only thing that I kind of figured is the ratio of the total impervious lot coverage area, so that it would include not only roofed, dwelling structures, but also driveways, drives, anything that we consider impervious surfaces to, in comparing to the overall lot, that number is kind of has not been submitted, but that's a minor item that can still be submitted before they come for a site plan review to staff, so.
Can you pause there for a second? What's the, for T4HN, what's the total allowed for impervious?
Well, it's 55% if you look at the coverage of roofed area versus the overall lot area,
Well, I'm asking for
Any-
total lot area impervious coverage.
65, so it's plus 10%, yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure they meet that, it's just, it hasn't been included in the overview, that's all. So going down to our integrity guidelines, when we look at infill development projects like this, as you know, we have 7. They pretty much almost all check out. The only missing item that we are still waiting on some further details are specifications, cut sheets on materials to be used. That includes the roofs, siding, colors. That needs to be still submitted to staff. But otherwise, number 1, location, we think that now we are at a point where the design meets the Beaufort style, the historic Beaufort style, the low country vernacular. It blends in nicely with the surrounding Old Commons neighborhood and the Beaufort Historic District as a whole. It also qualifies if we look at the Secretary of the Interior standards. Number 1, a property shall be used for its historic purpose or be placed in a new use that requires minimal change to the defined characteristics of the building and its site and environment. So meaning the historic character of the environment, the surrounding neighborhood is being respected and well reflected by the new or by the proposed architecture. We feel confident that now they have come to a very good place that kind of fulfills this prerequisite design. As I said, the design recommendations have been addressed successfully. The setting, it is at a very prominent corner at West and Congress Streets. So we feel that this project invigorates this intersection and brings back the life that is needed there or that should be there. We have a lot of examples of two-story dwellings in the neighborhood. It will become home to an established family again, which we would like to see, of course, to bring back life into Old Commons neighborhood. The workmanship seems to be nice. We are still, although missing some specifications on materials and so forth, but the overall feeling is a well integrative feeling. It blends in nicely into the district and the neighborhood. So with that being said, we recommend final approval for today. Under the condition that I kind of already alluded to, that typical building sections should be submitted to us showing some building details such as window heads, sills, columns, open questions regarding, garage decks and so forth, cut sheets for roofing, windows, doors, gutters, decking, the labeling of those specific materials on the plan sets for both of the primary dwelling and the carriage house. And last but not least, to be clear that the all cementitious siding that is going to be implemented should be of a smooth finish, but that pretty much checks it out. So if you have any questions for staff.
The only thing I have, Christopher, is was there like a driveway or anything proposed? And I did not see it in the plans. And I know there'll be somewhere between probably 5 or 6 cars probably parking here.
That's a good question. I mean, the carriage house with where the garage sits is accessed off of West Street.
Right.
So I think there's not a lot of driveway that will go into the property.
So it's on.
So I haven't seen any plans that show the length of a driveway there. So that's a good question, I would say.
Maybe Mr. Homan can.
Yeah, I think they'll run into whether or not they hit that 65% mark, and they'll have to make a decision as to whether or not it's gravel or concrete, depending on what they're able to do.
So the carriage house kind of sits right on the property line. If
Right.
you look at the site plan, on page 2, it kind of, if you look closely, the garage doors seem to be like right there at the property line. So there's not a lot of storage for vehicles to be parked in front, I would say. Yeah. Yeah,
That's my only question, so maybe Mr. Holman
Yeah.
can.
okay. Yeah, sure. Actually, the site plan that I was just referring to is, if you can see it, is here
Yeah, it's.
on the
it
right
doesn't-
hand side, so
Doesn't even, it doesn't show the full,
Right.
lot though.
you kind of see the corners. You've got West Street on the, on the left-hand side, and you can see the proposed 2-story garage or carriage house building on the back, but you kind of can slightly tell the lines which resemble the property line. So that's my interpretation. It sits right at the property line with the doors. I don't see any kind of a driveway through going in. Yeah. All right.
Any other questions for staff before? I mean, I have a bunch of questions, but we'll get through.
Okay.
Mr. Holman, would you like to present anything?
I would like to make sure that you guys know we'll be using hardy plank. It'll be the smooth. Yeah. And we will address all the other comments that are on.
Good, thank you. Any, public comment?
Good afternoon, Lisa Sunderla, Historic Beaufort Foundation. Hope y'all are doing well today, and Merry Christmas, by the way. Couple of different things. I want to thank Mr. Hallman for meeting with our Preservation Committee on Friday, and to also thank him for working with the city and working with the board's previous recommendations with regard to the scale of the structure and being able to minimize it to the extent that he has. I think and our committee thinks the west elevation is very successful with what they've been able to achieve with that elevation. The east elevation, not so successful. So I do think that's worth some discussion with the board and the applicant about being able to add some additional voids, because it's a lot of solid on that side, and to address.
Can we switch to that elevation?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, okay, thank you. East. Yeah, and to be able to address above the stairwell, the second floor stairwell, what's actually needs to happen, because I can imagine with the rain we had just this past week, I wouldn't want to be carrying groceries up those stairs and stand there and fiddle with a lock. So I think that, practicality stands in that you certainly want to address that, but also to be able to make it as successful as the west elevation is on there. And I know there was a good bit of discussion at the last meeting and also HTRC about solids to voids on this side of the building. And if there is opportunity to add some additional window, I think it would help that elevation to be much more successful. I think that's all that I had with the main structure. And then would you mind putting up the carriage? Sorry, and the carriage house. Yeah, because this was the first time I'd also seen the different elevations of the carriage house that came through with this application. When we say right, that always screws me up, right, left, and front. So what is our orientation, Christopher?
I changed it on mine. I figured
Yeah.
out which one is.
So Christopher, what is what?
Left is west.
So,
Yeah,
let me see.
I can tell you in a second.
Okay.
So the rear elevation, what is called the rear elevation, is the front elevation of the carriage house facing West Street. So the left side elevation in the middle would be the north. Because west,
No,
it's facing west, so the
Oh, and the stairs are to
staircase
the
is going
side.
to up to
Yeah.
the left, so that would be north.
okay,
right side is south, left
Right.
side is north, front side is east, and rear elevation is west.
Yes. So the right side is actually the elevation facing the primary.
But I would note for future submissions.
Yeah.
Doing the front, left, right, whatever is.
Yeah, do
I was
east,
I was
west.
sitting there in
Consistent.
my office
Yeah,
doing this with the Google Maps.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel much better now looking at it from that perspective because I was thinking that the garage doors, that it was facing a different direction. And I was going to ask that it considered to be flipped, with regard to that. I do think it would still be more successful as well and be more compatible with the new house, to add, a couple of additional windows on those two blank facades for that. And I did have one other carriage house question. The height of that, I don't see a comparison between that and the main house, on it. Yeah. So there isn't one.
The carriage house is 27.2 and the main house is 27.7.
Hmm.
So they're similarly sized.
Right, which is not how it should be. So if it's the pitch of the roof that needs to change, then that, here, all right,
If you
yeah.
can you go to the west elevation? It shows a comparison. Yeah, that one. I was asking
Yeah.
him to pull that up, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have it in there. I don't think. I
Yeah,
do,
so let me give it
but-
back to you then.
You
Yeah,
should,
they're pretty much right on top of each other. So, that said, following the guidelines and the ordinance, that should be diminutive to the main house. So, however that is worked out, certainly we don't want to redesign his project, but lowering that pitch on the roof would be a definite first step. I'm not sure what other elements might need to happen with it. And getting, Rita, to your point, parking had been a concern of mine from the very beginning, especially when we heard that it was going to be, to a duplex.
right, with
Yeah.
the carriage house. which is
Right,
the
and
front
originally
one.
it started with one garage door, and so he moved, thank you, and added it so that it was a two-door garage, which was successful, but I think the question still comes up, most families have more than one car. Right, and I know that there can be some on-street parking around it, but I just think that needs to be worked out with staff so that there's an understanding that everything has a place. And I think if there is going to be, and if there is room to be able to do some sort of drive with it, and it might mean that the carriage house / garage needs to move back in order to allow that on the property, then that should be impervious, what is it? Pervious material.
Yeah.
So like pressure run, that type of thing, low country mix, rather than a hard surface at that location. But those are our comments. So it seems like there's more really with the carriage house on trying to make that fit appropriately within the context of the neighborhood as well as the code. So thank you very much.
thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
Hey, I'm Stacy Applegate, 1301 Green Street. I live in the Northwest Quadrant. I've been talking to Larry a little bit about this project. I got to look at it and it looks like he's done everything that you guys asked him to do the last time. And I think he's willing to make definitely that staff recommendation about the roof and work with you guys on any other adjustments. So I would encourage you to give him final. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Anyone online?
No, sir.
All right, well, then it's time for us to discuss it. I think I'll just give a few initial thoughts and then I have a bunch of notes. I think it looks like a pretty good project overall. I think it's a solid project. I think it adds 2 housing units, which is great. We need more housing on a corner that desperately needs to be improved, given some of the failings around there. And I think I was here for the last one. And we made comments and you've acquiesced to many of those comments and made what I think are good improvements. So I think it's a good project and I'm supportive of it. I do have some questions. Nothing that's crazy or would change my view of the project. But I did have a few questions. But before I get into that, I wanted to hear if you guys had any concerns, questions to discuss.
Probably, and I agree. I think it's a great project. Mr. Holman has made all the changes that we requested. I do have a concern about parking because that is a busy area. I know I pass it to go to the chamber every week. And, my building is just a block over. So I know there's a lot of traffic in and around Congress and West in that area. So my biggest concern right now is parking. And then I have a question about that facade.
Yeah,
But
we can-
other
I
than
I
that-
think we'll hit, I have questions about that facade too, so I think we're gonna hit that facade up. I do want to say, I don't think parking is in our purview,
It's not.
so whether we like it, love it, hate it,
Yeah.
it is what it is, and the staff will have to determine if it meets parking requirements. So we should maybe not opine on parking. Did you have any?
Really, it's just the scale of the garage right now. I mean, I think, if that's addressed, it may provide more parking even though it's not in our.
It's just not a design thing.
No,
Right.
right.
Okay. I wanted to say the side-by-side comparisons that the staff does, when you compare conceptual versus final and multiple submittals, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very helpful
Very.
to see. Because in previous packets, you guys have been doing that for a little bit now, so I know this is not new. But it used to be that there would just be a verbal description of what was and what is, and now there's a verbal and a visual. And I love that. Kurt's over there smiling because he's been doing it for a while, but it's great. So
Ever since
Um,
Christopher came.
so I think that's very helpful. So I really appreciate that. So kudos to you guys for that. I want to push to the west elevation, if you could. And I want to discuss a few things on there.
This one?
Yes. I know it's not the full thing. I'm sorry, not the west. Yes, the east. Okay. When I look at and I may, Mr. Holman, I may call you up to give some ideas on this or what your thoughts are. When I look at this east elevation and I look at the floor plan, what I see is a open porch for maybe you could put a small grill out there. That's the only reason that you would not have that covered, I would think. They did add a corner detail. That's that post to the right of the door, which is more or less what we asked for. Whether or not it makes sense to me or you or anyone up on this board as to whether or not somebody's going to get soaked carrying their groceries up is, in my opinion, not relevant to whether or not he has a right to build it this way. I would not want to get soaked while I was walking up, but that's not a design decision that I think is something that we can say, well, you must or you must not. I do think that we need to know, I would like to know, and I know this is part of the staff recommendations for the cut sheets. I would like to know what your deck boards are made out of and your trim is made out of. If you intend on going with pressure treated pine, or it's a new build, so you could maybe do a composite that'll last a lot longer on the deck boards. So I would want to see what that is and the colors and all that. I do think it's a little bit of an odd detail with the roof, but I don't know. I don't know that that's something I would be willing to force a change on. HBF commented and we commented previously on the mass and scale of this elevation. They did add a set of windows, which improves it. And they add that corner, which improves it. There's still a lot of mass. But it's an elevation that faces a neighbor. It's not a street facing elevation. So I think my opinion is I think it would be inappropriate to ask for additional changes on this facade, given that they've already done the windows, they've done the corner piece as was asked, and it's already not a street facing facade. I agree that the mass is big. That's my feeling on that.
Yeah.
I want to point out, if I may, so the east elevation is the elevation that basically is next to an existing building to the right.
Right.
So you won't probably, if you're walking down Congress Street and you're looking at this new builds, that next door house would probably block out most of the
That was
first
the point I
floor.
just made, yeah.
Yeah, so probably the only portion that you will be seeing is actually that portion where they added the windows in.
Right.
Most likely, so, yeah.
What do you think about that elevation?
Well, I would just be curious to know if there was a reason why the roof is like that. Like, is it just like an aesthetic thing, or was it some sort of a functional thing, an engineering thing? Like, what was the thought behind that? Because it does look bizarre.
Mr. Holman, do you want care to respond to that?
I'm sorry.
Is there, so what we're talking about is that if you look at the top of the stair landing where there's that uncovered porch, you have that roof line and it's cut short instead of extending to create some kind of
You know,
cover.
I could address that, but, I could address it with the, additional notes. You know,
Well,
they can put in the, but I don't see why they should keep us from final approval.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily what we're discussing. We're trying to discuss why certain features are what they are.
Oh.
Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to create additional hurdles for you to jump through in order to start this project.
Yeah.
I think we all want to give you final approval today. We're trying to figure out under what conditions we're going to give final
Okay,
approval.
that,
So the question is
can't
there,
answer your question. The designer drew it that way. It was drawn that way. That's all I can say.
so
I'm
there's,
not the designer. She designed it that way. I could live with it, or I could, it's minute.
okay.
And the way it's spacing is not, it doesn't look bad to me. It doesn't look bad.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and opinions are opinions.
Sure.
Yep.
I can live with it.
Thank you. Both, does that answer your question?
Sure. Answered mine.
Okay. Maybe staff can answer this. That bottom section, that's a service yard? That's what the staff was talking about, putting screening around to make sure.
Yeah, that's correct. Mhm.
I just didn't see it labeled as a service yard. I could have missed that.
Change it.
This here, right in here.
So my thought with with that section we just discussed is,
I was going to say, I could change that if
I think we're getting confused.
Yeah, we're confused. I'm confused with this and the way you,
Oh.
I'm
okay.
saying I could change this. Within the notes that you have here, that could be changed.
Okay. Yeah, I think we just wanted clarification of what decision-making process was behind cutting the roof short, Larry? Because like Lisa had mentioned that when somebody goes in the door, they have no covering over the door.
Or right here, that's like covering over the land. It's
Yeah.
like she didn't bring the roof down.
Yeah, Right.
And maybe you wanted it open to the air and
Like, yeah, she drew it that way. And really, when you walk up the steps, you are going into the door which is covered. Now, if you come back out, it looks to me like you were saying if you have a grill or something out there, the rain is coming down on you. But as far as it covering the person going into that door, it's covered.
okay, it doesn't
Yeah,
appear to
It
be.
doesn't appear to be.
Yeah, it appears to me that the door is, yeah, if you go up and you're going into that door. But I could take a look at that.
Yeah, from the, let me pull up the roof plan.
Yeah. That would help.
So the roof plan is here, actually.
Yeah, I don't think it's covered.
No.
It's,
Mm-mm.
No.
it's, you just have the eave sticking out, so you're. That, once again, it could be a design decision. I think it's a little odd, but I would not make it a condition of approval. But I have two other compatriots here who also get a vote, so, we were just asking if there was a specific reason for that cutout, that's all. And the answer was, no, that's what the designer drew.
Yeah,
Do you have strong feelings one way or the other about it?
No,
Okay. All right,
no.
thank you. All right, well, that answers that question.
I had a question on the north elevation, the facade. And I like the way it's much more interesting looking now. The problem I had when looking at the plan was it looks like that's only a 1 foot bump out.
Mhm.
Is that correct? Only one, it bumps out only 1 foot. So
Yes.
you're gonna have a roof that's only 1 foot.
Yep,
Okay.
it's gonna be a
It
framers,
was hard for me to read. So-
framers are gonna love to build that.
And then the other one.
It was
is
a-
2.5 feet. So it's 2.5 feet and then the next one is like 1 or 1.5 feet.
I- Yeah, I do think it is kind of a clever way to break up that back facade, though.
Yeah, I do
So,
too.
um,
Much more interesting.
it's much more interesting. It breaks up the massing of it. So,
It's almost like one of those little, back in the 70s, they built houses that had like little doghouse looking things on them. You know, I can't remember what they were called. But yeah, they had like a little bump out and it, yeah, but it was like not the whole side was, it wasn't just a dormer. It was like the whole side of the house was that way.
yeah. Talked about that one. Sorry, I'm going through my notes here.
And do we have colors?
No,
So it's hard to give a final if we don't have colors.
That's one of the missing items. As I pointed out, the materials specification on colors, materials and so forth. Yeah,
Okay,
for the most part. Mhm.
all right.
yeah, that was. Colors I didn't see were mentioned anywhere. None of the cut sheet stuff was, so I guess my question would be. If we give final approval with the condition, with those additional information being provided to staff. Who's making the decision on whether or not the materials and the colors are appropriate?
Right.
Do you have the ability to do that?
Yeah.
Or the authority? to
Because I
do
mean,
that?
Craven came to us
We-
about colors.
Yeah, well, I think together with our staff architects from Metters, Maria and Jeremy, whatever they submit to us, we will, discuss that with them to see how compliant the colors, the materials would be. But I think, yeah, I think we could do
I'm
that.
just a little concerned to know
Yeah,
Don't take
Yeah.
offense to this, guys.
yeah.
But there's been some things that have slid through
Well,
lately.
you know, and it's a valid question. I mean, that's why I did mention it. It's one of the it's one of the conditions that needs to be provided definitely needs to be provided before we can issue a certificate of appropriateness letter. And going forward with the design review and so forth. But the way we feel, or I feel as staff, is it shouldn't be holding up a final approval, because we've been here. This is the second HDRB meeting. We've been through 4 HTRC meetings. So, but yeah,
I don't understand how we got through 4 HTRC meetings and an HRB without the applicant knowing that at a final approval request.
it was never submitted.
sheets
It
and
was never
materials.
submitted.
No, that's not what
Yeah, okay.
that's not what I'm saying. How does the applicant, or are you saying the applicant was made aware that for final approval submissions,
Yeah,
you need to have colors and
Yes.
cut sheets and all that?
correct, correct.
Okay, we just don't have it.
We don't have it.
I see.
That's it.
Okay.
You have it, Mr. Holman?
We do have,
Oh, okay.
You can come up.
yeah, we do have this color for the,
For all of the siding? Okay. Have you seen that? Lisa? Okay, so it wasn't presented at the HT? Okay.
there or with preservation.
That is a very bold color.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure it's in keeping with the district.
And the problem with colors like that is they don't look terrible in small, but when you put it on, 1,000 square feet, it really pops. I would like to be able to push the ball down the field on this, but I'm having second thoughts. Question for staff. Let's say a final approval is given and there's conditions that need to be met. Can we require that those conditions be brought back to us at the next hearing? Because let me contextualize my thoughts. A shovel's not going in the ground in the next 30 days. You know what I mean? He's still gonna have to hire a contractor. He's gonna have to get a building permit. He could do all of that. He could get a letter that at least allows the structure to be built a certain way. Bruce is not going to care whether it's smooth side hardy plank or grain hardy plank, or if it's, this color roof or that color paint. Bruce doesn't care about that. Giving him a COA with conditions would allow him to move forward in other areas, but we could say, you still need to come back to us with your colors and materials picked out. And that way we're not holding up the process. Does that make sense? The problem with that is he can't go to the building codes and say, I want to apply for my permit now.
Yeah,
I know, but I'm trying to get creative on how to make things better.
well, and didn't y'all propose that this be final?
I mean, I think we did, because there's.
Yep.
I mean, I'm kind of in agreement with Eric. I don't want to hold up the project. Yeah, the height of the
I
garage.
actually don't hate it, but I'm probably the only one up here that doesn't hate that. I do have concern about the color and the materials. But I think over the course of 30 days, that could be solved, and that would allow you to apply for a permit so you could get started.
And Jeremiah, his next door neighbor on the project, was fine with the height and all of that.
Yeah, I don't have heartache over that. The structure itself, I'm pretty good with it. It would be the cut sheets and the colors I would really want to see.
And he did say smooth hardy plank.
Right.
yes.
Uh,
How about you you could condition this, you could give it a final approval for the building and that the final details of the building shall come back to the board as soon as possible for board approval. Is
Okay,
that the condition you want to go with?
Yeah, I wanna, I would say at the next available meeting, because we'd still have to discuss it publicly, right?
Well, you'd be bringing it back to the, next meeting or.
Okay, so that's what I'm leaning towards is
That makes
we
sense.
could give final
Let's let 'em know.
approval with these conditions. And but we would like for the cut sheets and colors, materials come back to us just to give a thumbs up to. But if we give that COA as a final approval with those conditions, that should be sufficient for him to start applying for a building permit.
Yeah.
And moving forward with contracts.
So I think you're just
That-
making a motion that you're approving the mass scale, the building, you're approving the building. But the details will come back to a future meeting, details as identified in the sheet.
Well,
Any
before
additional-
I'm making a motion, I'm asking you.
That's fine, we can do that.
I'm asking you, would that be sufficient for the building codes to accept a permit application?
I think so, as long as, you're okay with not adding the windows. and
Right, we're
the
saying-
height of the garage.
Right,
So
right,
Yeah.
right.
everything else is
It's just colors.
colors and materials,
Yeah.
then sure.
lighting,
So
fixtures
we're-
and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're saying.
He's
building
letting you
codes
get a building
for
Yeah.
permit.
structures?
I would say.
These
yes.
minor exterior details, you gotta come
I
back.
mean, they
next
could
month.
lower the roof line. I
Whenever
don't
you
think
need
it's that
to.
big of
They
a
bring
deal.
it-
Jeremiah
bring
did-
us-
They already did it.
Yeah,
with
to get those
COM.
approved.
It is lower. It's about 6 inches lower.
Cause they don't like the color.
And that's
So,
kind of what we've given.
They
them
don't like
to
the,
other
they don't like that they don't
Yeah.
see that you're
Ju-
doing
Like
like
that
the
big
hardy
one.
board and.
Okay, I think it.
The window
rates-
detail, because they usually do.
Yeah, and that's
the-
part of what you have.
The one by the park
Down
over
here,
there, remember the
Yeah.
huge.
Details.
No, all these
Yeah.
things, these are all just details,
Okay,
the
So
color, siding.
What color would you
window.
prefer, Eric?
I don't have a color preference.
But you could say what you don't like or what you like.
We
Now,
don't like
do you
that.
have-
I can tell you what,
No, this becomes personal then, is what I'm saying.
We're
It's
taking
subjective.
we're taking
Oh,
personal,
If you don't
Sure.
like my
this
color-
whole thing is very subjective, let me
Yeah.
tell you.
it's,
The,
I mean, you say you didn't like my green.
I thought that it was kind of bold, but I could be convinced otherwise. Hold on, wait a minute. The guidelines
it's
that
right.
we adhere to talk about bold colors that are not fitting. So if you don't see a bright pink color house that is historic in a certain neighborhood, then proposing a bright pink color house is not fitting and it makes one house stick out more than others. There is a line where that turns from objective to subjective. I will grant that. But some colors are, to a reasonable man's eye, fairly bold and stick out more than others. That's what the guidelines say. We can argue until we turn blue in the face as to where that subjectivity line is,
Yeah.
but that's where it is.
Yeah, but right now, what are the colors in that neighborhood?
White,
Well,
No,
I think you just,
you can't see them. They're either faded.
I mean, I see no color.
They stick out more than this.
Sir, I'm trying to help you get a final
Yeah,
approval.
and that's fine.
And that's not the way to do it.
I appreciate that, Eric. I really
so
do.
I would just suggest just going down the street.
Yeah,
take some
let's get some-
pictures, take
let's
some
look-
pictures and
Yeah.
see what, and maybe have a palette of
Yep.
different, have a
Yeah.
palette of
Okay,
colors that you can live with, and then you can propose it, and
And maybe
there's 3 or
Stacy,
4 of them, to have the trim, and then
That's
the
fine.
main color, and then.
that's.
I,
fine.
okay,
Yeah,
so I
and
think.
maybe Stacy can help, because Stacy was on this board at one
Yep,
time.
Yeah,
And she knows what's allowed and what's
Jeremiah
not.
was as well. There's,
Jeremiah,
We don't need to do another HTRC
Alright.
meeting,
we ready
we'll
for
just
a
take you
motion?
straight to this.
can you
board.
make it?
Okay, that's
But-
fair.
I would suggest if you have any comments about the height of the garage or windows, that would be problematic with approving it today. So,
I'm okay with the structure as
as
presented.
long as you're,
The only thing I want to hold back is the cut sheet and the materials and the colors. And I would say that which should be sufficient for a construction permit. And that we'll see you again for you to we'll just talk about colors and materials. And fixtures, light fixtures on the exterior, things like that. Okay.
okay. I'll make a motion to approve for final approval with the following conditions. And that be that we have all of the cut sheets for the color and the light fixtures and the siding and all of that stuff come back to the board at the next meeting for our approval on that. That makes sense? Oh,
Well, let's restate it. So, but I think that we could just say, I think what we're trying to say is the staff recommendations we agree with,
right.
but we want them to come back to us. And so we are giving final approval on the structure, the facades, the size and all of that. But that the staff recommendations we agree with, but we want specifically the colors, the cut sheets to come back to us at the next meeting.
Okay,
Do you want me to
I'm
state
gonna
it?
try it again.
Who's next? You try it again.
Okay. I recommend this project for final approval with the following conditions. All of the staff conditions are met, and that at the next board meeting, we receive cut sheets on all the color, the fixtures, and
Materials.
materials.
All right. Any discussion?
Oh, and the
I
windows.
think the specifics of the windows would be included in the cut sheets.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in terms of the size of the windows and where they're located, we're approving. Yep. So any other discussion on that motion? Anybody want to?
Second that motion.
Okay, excellent. We'll start with you to vote on that.
Aye.
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 Excellent. So you got final approval for the structure. We'll just need to see it back for colors, cut sheets. But now you can at least move forward with getting contracts and permitting, and hopefully it doesn't set you back too far. Thank you. All right. We have the next item. I actually wanted to go backwards for a second. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that.
I have a question about how the Craven project ended up. We never got word on that, on the Craven colors, because not everybody answered
Okay.
the emails.
So 506 Craven Street, they had proposed to change their exterior paint colors, as you know. At the meeting that we discussed at the formal HDRB meeting, we made that a condition as well to work with them. Staff would be invited, you would be, as board members, would be invited to take a look. They did paint the back section. I think Rita, you were out there, Kim, not sure.
We made it there.
You never made it?
Right. So Nick and I were out there. I did share the pictures from our site visit with the board. They did change, the only color they changed is the foundation color from that pale navy blue color to that more Charleston green color because of, with the vegetation being so close to the ground in there, it kind of, that color would get dirty. So a Charleston green would be better, more suited for a foundation wall color, and didn't actually look really good. They had worked with neighbors. They had shown the colors to the neighbors. The neighbors were all good with it. So I think I heard from many of you, not everybody, but with that being said, I tried my best to kind of bring it to you, to extend the invitation. You were out there, we were out there, I shared the pictures with you. Internally, staff, we discussed it, we determined we were fine with the colors. With that change for the foundation wall, to change it to Charleston green instead of that hail navy that was presented. So we presented them a final COA letter. Yeah, and that was part of the meeting. I mean, that was,
I think that was one I was.
that was that was reflected in the decision letter from the official regular meeting, that
Okay.
staff would work with board members to take a look at what the colors would look like.
Right, I just never heard what the other board members had to say. I was the only one that I heard.
So,
That-
I mean, I was like, okay,
That's
I'll win
because-
time to see it,
Mhm.
and
so frankly, with we're just kind of opining on a decision we just made. I don't know if we're allowed to do this, but, I'm gonna do it. Part of the reason why I wanted to bring him back, Mr. Holman, was I saw the email traffic on that
Yeah.
and thought, you know what? Wouldn't it be great if we could just have everyone here opine together on the same type of topic? So I think maybe for something like this where we don't have it, but we could still move things along, that's, we bring them back.
So with.
That was the reason
Mhm.
why I wanted to do that today, because I saw the email traffic on that
I
other one.
appreciate that.
You know, and it makes a lot of sense to see the colors in live, right?
Yep.
So we had the colors at the meeting for 506 Craven Street here. They were presented, but of course, they look differently if it's painted on site, which they did do that. And so I think I like the initiative. Unfortunately, within that 1 week that I waited for responses from the board, I only received 2 to 3. So I had Kim, I had you, Rita, I had Grady, who said he's fine.
But I did not
Right.
respond because I was not at that HRB.
No, that's fine. I mean, I included everybody's. I heard back from Grady, I heard back from Kim, and I heard back from you. And
So who did you-
neither of the responses were that negative where I was like, okay, this is absolutely a no-go. So.
I was waiting to hear what Lisa's report was about the history of the paint colors on the buildings. And
And
that was my
yeah.
whole argument from the very beginning, is that
Mhm.
we are changing history. That is unacceptable.
and I did share, I think, Lisa's,
Was she
yeah, because we emailed.
about how the Rainbow Row, that was a made-up thing that came later and, yeah, right,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
But I do remember comments on color being made before by the historic HBF and about not liking the Periwinkle house that used to be there on the corner. And this is not going to be that much different as far as boldness.
And I don't know that discussion on the Fairwinkle House. I think that was with Cynthia.
It was with
Yeah,
Cynthia.
So I don't know that one, but just very quickly, the history with regard to that we know with regard
Yeah.
to Rainbow Row. A lot of it is anecdotal because there's nothing written in concrete and anything that says that the choice of varying pastel colors was a given restriction protected for Craven Street
Mhm.
at all. That it was more of an organic kind of a change
Right.
as different people moved in. In 1969, every single one of the houses on that street, except for 506, was white.
Right, I saw
I
that.
just feel like this is a very bold move. And we're going to hear about it.
Yeah,
We're going to hear about it.
Yeah,
Sir, I appreciate everything you did to get us over there too.
Yes.
I just couldn't make those times work.
No,
I
that's
could
fine.
just Show up.
Right,
at
no.
regular hours.
and that's why I figured I would send these pictures to
Yeah.
you, to
Yeah.
everybody to look at and kind of opine on them. And it didn't have, I mean, you know what I'm saying, but I mean, we put it out there.
Yep. You did.
And at the end of the day, with what Lise had just presented, which I had shared with you, I think I
Yep.
truly believe as well. We made that determination. The color scheme, as we know today, was basically a marketing tool that was that was brought in the 60s, 70s. The Rainbow Row, Beaufort's version of Charleston's Rainbow Row.
Yeah.
So,
okay, well, next topic. All right, so the next item is election of board members for the Historic Task Force Committee. I did not see anything about that in the online packet.
I mean, there's really nothing to give you, just that we needed a member but with Mike and Grady not here, you might want to postpone it till.
Yeah.
Good idea. All right, we'll table that. Great idea.
Well, Eric has been part of the kind of board a little bit, right? But we were creating a permanent kind of advisory board from city council to advise, I guess, any changes in the historic district, kind of related to a number of issues, and not just the design related, it's like more holistic. And it was to have a member of the HDRB, member of the Planning Commission, a member of the Freedmen's Art District, member of HBF, and then 5 at-large members that have to live in the historic district with at least 2 in the Northwest Quadrant. Their addresses had to be in.
Right. But it-
So, and then the deadline was going to be December 31st, or is December 31st for the peoples, but we were doing these 2 elections, like planning commission meeting next week, but since their deadline's the 31st and your next meeting's like the 14th or the 11th or something of January, it's fine. You can just wait.
Yep.
So you'd be serving on a board probably, at least once a month. So whoever wants it to do it.
Somebody that's, I have not been as participatory as I ought to be. So we need somebody, one of you.
Chairman's made most of the meetings so far.
Yeah, so Mike's been good.
He's been,
So
involved.
there's supposed to be 2 people or 1 person from HRB?
just one.
Just 1. So it'll probably be Mike.
I mean, you have to make an election, so.
Right. Well, I would rather elect somebody with them present, nominate and elect somebody with them present. So is that something we could table till next time?
Yeah, I don't think it would hurt anything.
Okay.
Well, then that's what we'll do. We'll table that. The next item is the board meeting schedule.
I noticed November 11th is Veterans Day. So this building's usually not open on Veterans Day.
Oh, wow, it is, isn't it? Okay, we will,
It's a Wednesday, the second Wednesday.
would November 18th or would, November 4th work better for everybody?
Is,
Say the 18th? Can't do the 4th. Okay, I mean, I'm totally open at this time of the
18th?
year.
Wednesday, the 18th work for you, Sean? Okay. I'm sorry, I missed that. For some reason, I was looking at that and thinking, it's usually on a Tuesday, isn't it? So,
Well, I think it's always the 11th, isn't it always the 11th?
yeah, I think you're right. I
That's what, yeah,
think you're right. That's all.
November 11th day.
The other important thing to note on this is, in an effort to make this easier, we're also kind of going to digital submittals. So you don't have to do giant paper submittals. So, well, if you want to make them, we'll take them. But,
Okay.
you no longer have to print out the big packets. So,
Darn.
I think that's great. I saw that and I was like, I love this.
and our InterGov system supposedly will be up sometime next year. They're finally here working on it. So God knows how long it's taking them.
Yeah. I mean, printing all those plans is not cheap.
Sure, plus it's expensive and it's, yeah, it's
I-
expensive and time consuming.
I know you're incentivized to print as everything you can, but
You can submit them if you want to. But,
this schedule so I have the online version, or what was loaded to the Dropbox, or emailed out, sorry. Does this go on the website in this exact form?
well, we'll have to make a change to November 18th, but yeah.
Okay,
The reason I ask is I'm looking at this and it's kind of confusing. I think these are little details that are gonna drive people crazy that I'd focus on, but I would switch I would swap them. I'd make the deadline date on the left because it comes
Okay.
before the meeting date. And then I would rename that to submittal deadline, because that's really what it is. And I would rename meeting schedule to HRB meeting date. I
Sure.
think that just makes it very
I
clear.
think this has been the template for many years, so,
So, but if you
be
put it left to
changed.
right in chronological, I think that just works with Western brains, and most of us are Western brains. So you put
I read Arabic in my spare time.
listen, I read Hebrew in my spare time. I guess.
Just kidding.
Oh, but if it's, I think it would just, I looked at this and was.
That's a good, we can make that change since we have to make the 18th, so it's fine. That's a
Okay.
good.
Yep.
Does the middle date need to change as well, or are we good with that?
Well, I think he's suggesting it be submittal instead of deadline date, so I think that's fine. So we'll put that first.
So I think she's saying the
No,
date
the date, the
itself.
20th.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes, that'll have to get moved up if we're moving the 18th, so that'll change too. Otherwise, I think the rest work.
I know I had a few other random things.
We tabled the discussion on the HVAC, right?
Yeah, the
What about that?
HVAC, I know, I think you basically,
What is this? What
one
we're
of
talking
them
about?
took work with us to,
Tabled it better.
oh, we already sent them a pretty affordable kind of screen that the company makes.
Oh, okay, good.
We actually, I had Ken, send them a notice that they need to get back with us by the end of the year, with something.
Okay.
So that's where that stands.
The,
and-
okay. The next thing on the list, agenda item 6, is discussion on setting a date for a proposed HDRB HBF training workshop, January, February timeframe.
That's right. And so we were thinking 23rd, the 30th, the 6th, or we could use the February 11th meeting. Could be like a morning meeting and then you come to this meeting. You could do that. Or the 13th.
Six actually was not one.
Oh, 6th. Well, let's mark out the 6th then.
So what are the available dates?
So the
23?
idea for this, this was at the last meeting you weren't here for, is the agenda would be, HBF would be presenting on easements, which I think was asked for at the last meeting, that they could, give a presentation on that. And then we'll also have a, maybe a tour and maybe a, discussion on infill and new development. That seems to be the hot topic right now, the size of it, the scale, that kind of thing. And then maybe a little tour, and we could either, you know, we could do the lunch too, if you'd like, but, yeah, and we just need a day. Those were the Fridays, but we could do that February, the 11th, if you want to do in the morning and then have your HRB meeting. It's up to you. I don't know your schedules, but,
Can't do the 23rd. I have a chamber board retreat.
okay.
Let me look up.
And Mr. Sutton and Woods are not here, so they're not, but we
I
do
don't-
probably need to set a date just so we can plan.
Is that something we could do? I think that's something we could do via email, correct?
Yeah,
We could, it's just getting an answer from
I
everybody.
would say for me, later in the month is better into
You know
first
how
week
that
in
goes.
February.
Yeah.
That would be the best for me, but that's just me.
So February 13th is the best?
I just basically, the 30th is good, the 6th is good, the 13th is good, yes.
6th, you can't do.
Oh, that's right, sorry,
So 30th,
or the 13th.
the 13th, sound like they're
All three of
coming.
those dates work for me. Wait a minute.
those are Friday.
30 and 13.
Yeah, so all of those dates work for me right now. My request would be that it's earlier in the day.
You'd rather have a morning meeting? A morning training session?
It would either have to
Fine.
be morning or like,
But like 9
lunch.
to 12? 9 to
I pick
12?
up my daughter from kindergarten at 3.
Okay, well, we could do
so-
9 to 12. I'm not sure
I don't know how,
with Mr. Sutton, if I can't remember if it's better for him. I think morning's better for him on Fridays, but I can't remember.
so regardless, I think those dates work. We just need to figure a time. And then
9 o'clock sound good for everybody?
that would work for me. Sure.
Okay, and so the 30th or the 13th. So I'll send an email to
Yep.
everybody just to kind of confirm which date is better, and then we'll work on putting something together.
The last thing I wanted to bring up just briefly before we go is there was, you guys worked on a brochure and a survey. How do I get access to that?
Well, they haven't been sent out or anything yet, but, I mean, I guess they were in the packet last time, so I can send you a revised version.
Yeah, because you had some revisions you were
Yeah.
gonna make.
I want to see it. I'm
I
so
mean, it's
excited.
nothing that exciting because I did it, not Christopher. so.
I wanna see it.
So,
I want to see it.
I'm the verbal, not.
Did you
designer.
do it on Canva? I need.
No, I don't even
All
know
right.
what that is.
Well, I'm excited. Listen, we bust y'all's chops on a few things every now and again, but by and large, I think you guys are kicking butt.
Yeah.
The process is so much better. There's tons of improvements. And compared to where it was, 4 years ago when I did my first historic property, which springed me up to this board in the first place.
Yep.
I'm much more inclined to do historic renovations and projects now. And after my first experience, I would not have wanted to do it. So I think
Well,
that's,
yeah.
Might even
That's off to you
reconsider
guys.
mine
All the
then.
credit goes to, I guess, Nicholas is doing a pretty good job compiling like some lengthy minutes and action steps. And Christopher's obviously provided these extremely detailed reports with the design, and which I was not able to.
well, and the TRCs and HBF's involvement, I think it's all
It's
been,
very true. I mean, this comes to every.
yeah.
And Metters is obviously
Matter.
also about.
Obviously,
I'm a
we love
control
letters.
freak.
All right. Do we have a mission?
I do have a question about the training that we keep getting emails about.
Yeah, I believe you are the last person in the HBF to need. I
All
think
right,
so.
so my question, and I never understood the answer, was I did training. Is it the same training I've done before? Is it just a repeat of the same?
It's,
stuff?
they update the training modules and they're online with the MASC and I sent you something that Christopher
Might
put
have
together,
forgotten
kind
now.
of showing you how to log in.
No. If anything, I know a lot more than I did.
Yeah, so.
Your initial training is 6 hours, right? The annual requirement for continued education is 3 hours.
Does my stuff count for?
So what Kurt sent you was something that I compiled, an email from the Municipal Association of South Carolina. It gives you some
Here's your options.
some options in theme areas where you can just watch a movie, basically a 3-hour session on specific topics.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do.
Okay,
You're
okay,
not bound to a specific topic.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
But Mr. Bardenwerper, who's the vice chairman of the PC, I mean, since we do all these and we do these training sessions, it's MASC has to approve them and we need to get with them and see if we can just get our stuff approved because that's but anything dealing with all these agencies usually takes a lot of time, so. But that would be so we'll try to work on that next year because the planning commission wants us to do that too, because we do these trainings, it's just they're not MASC approved, so
right, okay. Yeah, because
we'll see.
I'm a member of, when the guys that came and trained us, 3 years ago or whatever, I joined that organization and I do ongoing lessons through them, but I guess that doesn't count. I'm supposed to get a certificate, but I don't.
But that is, I'm so glad you're doing that because
It's interesting.
it's presented in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, if you could complete that by the end of the year, just send it over. That would be great. Sorry.
Now you must make a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.